I would rather somebody see me at my most vulnerable and go, I can't believe he showed that, than to act like I'm strong. This is what Paul said in 2 Corinthians 12. I glory in my weaknesses and my infirmities. When I'm weak, he's strong. I'd rather you see me weak. I'd rather you see me off. I'd rather you see me flip out and be like, oh, Tim's human. Oh, yeah, I am. Yeah.
And that's what makes you powerful. That's what makes your voice and your testimony powerful.
Yeah.
Because you show the human nature.
Absolutely.
And most don't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I really do feel like if I have a secondary assignment, right? The first is I really believe everybody's supposed to live in vulnerability. I think my secondary thing, specifically for the church, is to eradicate the duplicity and the incongruity and the hypocrisy. That's my secondary assignment, is to expose it. I don't have to name names. All I got to do is keep telling you what it looks like, and you'll see it for yourself.
Exposing.
But that's, God's made that very clear. Like, we shouldn't have preachers in the pulpit anymore that preach one thing but live a completely different way. I ain't talking about having a struggle. I ain't talking about wrestling with something. I'm talking about you can't be a pastor and have a whole side chick.
Yeah.
You can't do it no more. Like, no. You can't have two babies mamas in the church. You single. But just because you got this gift, we're going to keep listening to you. No, I'm nigga, we'll find somebody else.
Oof. Yeah.
There's another one coming. It ain't all about you. And so I think God is, he's not reshuffling the deck. He's putting the cards away.
Ooh.
He ain't playing cards no more. So all these pastors that are dropping and falling, all that kind of stuff, it's the sin of Ananias and Sapphira. They lied to the Holy Ghost. They presented themselves one way, even though they were doing something else. It's the lack of full disclosure.
So do you feel like God is replacing the deck with another?
Well, he ain't playing cards no more at all.
He's just done.
Yeah, he's done with cards. I think he's pulling out a chessboard.
Oh, I like that.
Right?
Yeah.
And because on the chessboard, every piece has a role.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't need people that are just great communicators to just be pastors because it's easy and beneficial and they can get a crowd.
Mm-hmm.
I'd rather have somebody that's half as good as this dude, but has integrity.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we don't even care that much no more.
Wow.
I done already heard the best preaching. I can supplement that, right?
Yeah.
You're my pastor. You're around the corner from my house. I'm going to your church, and you ain't the best pastor in the world, but at least you live what you say.
Yeah.
This whole season of like incredibly charismatic, but got all these faults, and we just giving you grace. Nah, you out. Get out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we don't need you no more. We're good. Because then you're not even a good template. You haven't sacrificed anything.
Wow. That's so good.
You haven't sacrificed anything. Your life is not only is the life not above reproach, it's you're dancing on the line. So
Well, that's been something I prayed for, is templates. But when you said that, it's like, God is like, I don't want you to follow their templates.
No.
That's what I'm trying to get rid of.
Yeah, I'm actually trying to get rid of it.
Yeah.
And the only way for that to change is those kind of people have to be depowered.
Mm-hmm.
They have to have their power taken away from them. As long as they still have power, they still have influence. So I'll use what's going on the secular side to kind of speak to the sacred side. Jeffrey Epstein was never going to stop abusing women until he lost his power. Right? When he lost his power, he hung himself, or was hung, depending on how many other tentacles his power led to. Right? Weinstein was never going to stop abusing women until he lost his power. Yeah. R. Kelly was never going to stop abusing women until he lost his power. Bill Cosby was never going to be held accountable for what he did to women until he lost his power.
Mm.
So this is why exposing a person doesn't have the same effect as them losing their power.
Mm.
That shot has to be lined up correctly. We got people going after very powerful people with information that doesn't cause them to lose power. So don't take that shot.
Okay.
The only shots that should be taken are the shots that make you lose power. Because that's the only time they're going to actually stop their behavior. Because they actually need their power to perform and function in the behavior.
Mm-hmm.
Like some of these niggas that's like cheating on their wives and, you know, hoeing around in church and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
If they work for UPS, would they even be cute? Like what is the person really drawn to actually? Is it just because this person looks like Boris Cujo and you know what I mean? Is this like the finest person you've ever seen? Or I'm attracted to power and you have it.
Yeah.
And if I can't have it all, I'll have a piece of it. If I can't sleep with Elvis, I'll sleep with a band member. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's that type of deal. And so I'm like, because Harvey Weinstein on his best day,
Yeah.
if you bought the dopest barber.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you know what I'm saying? So, like, R. Kelly, like, that's one of the greatest songwriters of all time. I'm sure some lady thinks he's attractive, but I mean, he's not in a position to get women to do what they did if he don't have power.
Yeah.
What he did with Aaliyah is because he had power. Predators need power.
Good.
And when you depower them, when you disempower them, they can't prey.
Wow.
And so we have to depower and we have to take away power.
Is that our job to depower, or do we just allow for it to happen naturally? Because I feel like some people want to depower people, but they just don't have the right to. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. I do believe that some people, I think victims have the right. Victims have the right to depower. It takes bravery. The reason why victims usually don't speak out is because, here, I'll use myself for an example. Well, Tim, why didn't you tell your parents you got sexually abused by the guy that lived across the street from you? I know this now. I didn't know this then. I fragilized my whole family.
Fragilized, what do you mean?
Fragilization of a person is when you withhold information or you don't tell them the truth because you don't feel like they can handle it.
Okay.
It's called fragilization. That's what they call it in the therapy world. So with fragilization, how did I do that at 8 years old? Why didn't I tell my parents that this boy had done this to me? Because I knew my dad would kill him, my brother would bury the body, and that my mom would be heartbroken for the rest of her life. And we probably was going to have to be in a foster home or go live with our other family members in LA. And that I was just I'm going to blow up my family unit. I'm going to blow up my community. And I can't do that. 8. I had that thought at 8.
Wow.
No 8-year-old should be thinking like that. But it wasn't like you better not tell it. Like he didn't threaten me. I literally was like, if I tell, then I'm going to blow up the whole thing. So I can't. So I will take it on. I will just take it. I'll just take it. Okay. So that's when you see a victim who comes out years later. This is how, man, it took that long to get the courage.
Malo.
Y'all over here mad at these women who didn't come out on Cosby 30 years ago.
Absolutely.
It took this Mickey Ficky long to get enough. Because then what does that say about you? That you put yourself, like, there's levels to this, y'all.
Yeah.
Especially
if you don't know who else has experienced
That's
it.
exactly right. And if you think you're the only one, then you're like, nobody's going to believe my story anyway.
Absolutely.
Because most people get dismissed. Most victims get dismissed. Or, especially for women, disproportionately women, sometimes men, but disproportionately women, it was your fault. You shouldn't have been there. Look at what you had on. As if any of that has anything to do with a predator. If you wanted to wear a floss bikini, you still don't deserve to have someone force themselves on you without your consent. It's a tragedy. So there's levels to why people don't speak out. But when they finally have the power to do so, if your response is, should have came out sooner, well, this is why I didn't say nothing in the first place. Because I knew I was going to get this. Or you're just going to be dismissed. Well, you only want his money.
Yeah.
You can't tell me 5 dudes was lying about having sex with a man. 5 black men? Gonna make that up? Like a black man needs that on there, as if they don't have enough to deal with.
Exactly.
Now I'm a lie about having sex with a pastor. Yeah. Stop playing.
Yeah. Oof.
Stop playing. There's other stuff we can do. Other stuff we would like to do. No, we were taken advantage of. We were groomed. So, like, if you don't believe the victim, don't ask why. Don't start asking. It's because you asking all these questions instead of just, let me hear it out first. Can somebody come up with a lie? Yeah. But usually around sexual trauma, why would we lie about this? Why would we make 30 women ain't telling a lie?
Yeah.
11 women in the church that feel uncomfortable with this pastor ain't lying. He's a creep.
Yeah.
I'm trying to empower them to speak. Because their voice needs to be heard. So.
That's necessary. And I'm glad you're doing it. Because not a lot of people are. A lot of people are doing the opposite.
Yep.
They're making them feel demonized for sharing.
Yeah.
Or even alluding to it, right?
Yeah.
A lot of people I've counseled, they will test the grounds. They'll hint at what happened, but they won't tell the whole thing because they're holding it.
That's right.
They don't want you to judge them or to, talk about them in a way that makes them feel like they were in the wrong.
That's right.
They're testing the grounds because they want to feel safe. And unfortunately, people have tested the grounds with unsafe people.
Absolutely.
And so that's made them hold it in.
But we don't do that with Bathsheba. Because we understand the power dynamic. The king called her to his court. You gonna say no to the king? Like we all of us that are not in that power dynamic, we all think, girl, that wouldn't have been me. I wish he would have tried to call me too. I was minding my business. I would have told you right. When you're in the power dynamic, it's different. So don't think you know what you would do. It's like when I hear people say, when I hear black people say,
it's gotta be us.
It's gotta be us, right? Anytime they go watch a slave movie, nigga couldn't have been me. I could have been born back then because they would have had to kill me. You wouldn't have known no different. Exactly. You was born in this. This would have been your normal. Don't act like you didn't get back to the future. You didn't get a DeLorean and wind up back in, the 1800s. You would have been born and raised in an environment that told you this was normal. So don't act like you would have been the freedom fighter. You would have gone turn into Harriet Tubman. You would have been, you know what I mean? You would have been, you would have been exactly what the majority of Africans who wound up being born here after generations, African Americans, you would have been a slave. Then you would have been freed, and then you would have been dealing with the power dynamic of white people and Jim Crow, and you would have went to the colored water fountain, and Martin Luther King was Martin Luther King for a reason. Malcolm X was Malcolm X for a reason, because nobody else.
Yeah.
Everybody else was accepting what the culture was given to them at the time, and you wouldn't have been no different. Stop it. Don't think more highly of yourself than you are. So in these power dynamics in church, the same thing plays out. I can't believe that. There's no way that dude was 20. There's no way he could have. That couldn't have been me if dude tried to step to me. Okay, all right. Until you on a plane in a different country.
Yeah.
And you've already been groomed and been exploited because you got a father wound. Like, no, fam.
What?
So I'm for the more people we get vulnerable, the more people will empower to tell their stories. Mm-hmm. If you haven't been the personal victim of this particular story, you can't depower. Only victims can depower. Because they were the ones that were abused by the power. So they have the right to take
makes
power.
So much more sense now. Why?
You took my power, I'm taking yours. Yeah, I got to take mine back. Mm-hmm. And it includes what you did.
And victims are the one who feel powerless.
That's right.
But they're the only ones who can depower.
They're the only ones that can depower. Their voice is the only thing that can take the power away from the person that took theirs. And that's who the enemy tries to silence. Yes. And that's what keeps power in position. And then all these other people are second and third party, and I'm exposing. I heard such and such was sleeping with such and such. Mm-hmm. Did they lose their power?
Mm-hmm. Accurate.
You keep going live, sir. You keep going live.
Yeah.
I got this information and I got that, but you ain't the victim.
Mm-hmm.
Until the victim got the receipts.
Yeah.
You got secondhand receipts. Why don't you empower the victim to speak? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that's what I'm trying to do.
Tell me what, I know that we've shared a lot, but what would it take for victims to share? Like how do they get to that place? Because I know we have victims that are watching.
Yep.
I've been a victim.
Yep.
There's a lot to get through.
For sure.
Before you can do that.
Absolutely correct.
And it's not just a one step, like, okay, just start sharing it. No,
it's not.
What are the steps? How do you get there? Obviously, counseling is important.
Yeah, counseling is very important because the first thing that needs to happen is you need to get to a place where you have peace. Mm-hmm. When Jesus talks about peace in John 14:27, this peace I'm leaving you with the gift, peace of heart.
Yeah.
And the gift I give you, the world cannot give. So neither be thou troubled or afraid. That peace literally is meant to regulate your nervous system. Mm. So the peace of God that passes all understanding regulates your nervous system. This is not just a mind thing. This is a body thing, right? And only when your nervous system is regulated can you heal, right? You need safety and stabilization. So that needs to happen internally first. Then you need to be able to integrate the story. You need to be able to revisit the traumatic episodes without reliving it. And I know a person not ready to share their story when they're sharing it and they're actually reliving it. Mm-hmm. They're dysregulated. The interview needs to be over. Mm-hmm. Right? I don't need a view that bad.
Yeah.
If you're going to relive the whole thing,
that's good.
You
not ready.
You're not ready, right? You need to be so the integration of the negative reality of what happened to you has to be worked out, and you do that in therapy. Mm-hmm. EMDR, there's all kind of protocols to get that done, and so you integrate the story until you're at the point where you can retell it without reliving it, right? And you've been able to make a different meaning out of what happened, which takes you from being the victim to the victor, right? Yeah. So then now when you sit down and you tell your story, it is like, so let me tell you what I've been through. And oh, by the way, this person that had power took mine, and my story will take theirs.
And there's a peace.
There's a peace that comes with that.
Yeah.
And that is not revenge. That is not retaliation. That is freedom. Mm-hmm. My dear friend said to me, if you don't like the story I told, you shouldn't have played the role you chose. Or you shouldn't have chosen the role you played.
Yeah.
So a lot of people, I don't want to say it because it's going to out this person. You played that role. That you played that. I didn't. Nobody told you. Nobody cast you as that. Mm-hmm. You invaded my narrative and played this role in my story. So you got to own it. You were the villain. then you got to own that place in my story. You get to tell your own story. But I got the receipts.
Yeah. Wow. That's good.
I did not think we was going to be talking about this.
This went deep. And it went deep quick. It was like,
hey,
you know?
Hey, as soon as you talked about your dog peeing, I was like, here we go.
Tipping point.
Here we go. You brought up your dog.
That was freedom to go. I absolutely love the transparency and the vulnerability that you have.
Thank you.
It's encouraged me. I know it's going to encourage others. And yeah, it's just going to be a ripple effect that I feel like needs to happen more of, especially with influencers. That's our superpower.
It is.
Vulnerability.
It is.
Yeah.
If we out here faking it, we need to stop now.
Yeah.
We get to have the our space as influencers. We get to give, especially as Christian influencers.
Yes. As
believers in Yeshua, we get to give people a different glimpse than they get on Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
We supplement Sundays.
Yeah.
The local church is the hope of the world. I still believe that. Every pastor ain't doing nothing, ain't doing freaky stuff and dumb stuff. Mm-hmm. There are just some that are. They need to stop, right? And if they don't repent, they need to be exposed, right? Because then now you're taking advantage of the power. We're not talking about you made a mistake one time and you repented and you've confessed and, asked forgiveness for all parties involved. We're talking about dangerous people. I need them off the set. I don't weep when a predator gets put off the set. I'm like, well, church about to be healthy. You know what I mean?
Amen.
Wrap these jokers up. So, but we get to give people what it looks like day to day. Sunday gives you the ideal, but wherever our podcast land, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, right? Mm-hmm. Wherever we get to, it's a glimpse into, this is how you navigate life on a daily basis. This is how you navigate life as an influencer. This is how you navigate life with vulnerability. This is how you navigate my life. Anthony O'Neill, right? Mm-hmm. Everybody should be listening to the Neatness Network if they want to get their finances straight, right? Like, it's one of the best to do it, right? Mm-hmm. So like we're out here to like supplement what the local church can elaborate on. Mm-hmm. That sermon is going to be a great inspirational sermon, or it's going to be a great teaching with 3 points or 5 points or 12 points, whoever the people are. We just we're here to supplement. Mm-hmm. This is how it looks to live on a Tuesday. Yeah. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
and a Wednesday and a Thursday, Friday. Right. And I think that's so important because honestly, Sunday, I forget the message sometimes after I get to the parking lot. But I'll remember a TikTok that happened and the trend that it invoked for months.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's just so powerful. I think influencers sometimes minimize their power.
Yeah.
And they forget that, you do have an impact. And people look to you. Yep. They see you. Like for me right now, people see me walking down the street in Chicago. I love Chicago.
Yeah.
But I go down the street sometimes and people will see the glass like, hey, VCI.
Yeah.
And I just, again, minimize myself because I don't see it as something that a lot of people see. But, when you see the following, you realize that's a lot of people probably may know you.
It's very humbling.
It is.
It's very humbling.
It really is. And it has to be like something that we understand and don't minimize. At the conference, I'll say this and then maybe we can end. But there was a person who came up to me and he had over 100,000 followers and he didn't understand what he should do with it. It's like, so what am I supposed to do with it? Like, I got here by accident. And it's a lot of them.
Yeah, for sure.
They got there by accident.
For sure.
They were just doing something goofy or funny. And next thing you know, they got all these followers that are looking to them for direction. It was hard for me to share with him what he should do because I know that it's so many things you could do.
Right.
Like you could make an impact. You can start, ministering the gospel and, doing something with philanthropy to help a community.
Yep.
But it's like you have to come to that decision for yourself on what you do with your following. And sometimes joy is enough.
That's true.
Giving joy when in a world of trauma and deepness happens all the time. Like, I'm like, just be yourself.
That's really good.
Be funny.
That's right. That's really good.
How do you, again, for me, I love to glean wisdom from people.
Yeah.
Tell people who are having these questions, right? They have all these followers, all these things that happen for them. Some of them have blew up overnight.
Yeah.
What do we do?
Yeah.
How do we navigate that? What happens next?
You double down on them.
Mm-hmm.
You got to 100,000 by accident. You'll get to 200,000 strategically.
Mm-hmm.
You double down on your audience.
Mm-hmm.
I grew our young adult ministry way back in the day. We started with 120 people. By the time we were done, it was like 750. Wow. Okay. But here's what I did. After 2 years, we had like 250 people.
Yeah.
And in 1 year, we went from 250 to 500. Here's what the Holy Spirit told me. He said, Tim, I want you to give a mandate to all your young adults. Give them 1 year to win one soul.
Mm.
Well, the evangelistic part of me was like, that's a low bar.
Yeah.
1 year, we should be getting a soul a week in Jesus' name. Like, He said, no. He said, I want you to tell these people to find one person that they know or work with or whatever, and I want them to shine the light of Jesus Christ in their direction for 1 year.
That's good.
Until one of three things happens. They warm up, they heat up, or they burn out. Put the light just on them. Mm-hmm. So we talking about like, you had a girl go to one of our young adults, our young adult ministry is called Brick House. And we were affectionately referred to our tribe as bricks, right? Mm-hmm. So we had our bricks going out, and like one of them went to work, and she just found a coworker. It was like, I'm paying for her lunch, like once a week. I know she got 2 kids, buying them jeans for back to school or whatever she could do. And the girls, the hell are you doing all this for me for? Mm-hmm. But like, I've been praying for you, and God just told me to look out for you and to be a blessing to you. I think it was like maybe 3 months or 4 months, she wound up giving her life to Jesus.
Wow.
Coming to church, giving life. Yeah. And then you always got the person that's like a zealous person, and they got 11 people saved in 9 days. So you know what I mean? Like, cause that's just the way they're wired. But within a year, we went from 250 to 500. Mm-hmm. All because I told somebody to just go after the next one. So when you get to 100,000 by accident, the way you get to 200,000 is to be strategic by doubling down on your 100 and saying, hey man, share this with one. If this is being a blessing to you, I ask you to share it with another person. Mm-hmm. It's low hanging fruit. Mm-hmm. Don't ask for the big thing. Mm-hmm. Right? I think a lot of times, like on YouTube specifically, everybody trying to get as much money in their pocket as possible, right? While they're growing their YouTube channel. Yeah. And so they're like, hey, I'm on YouTube, but come over to Patreon. Mm-hmm. You ain't been here a year. And you telling people to cross the street.
Right.
They met you here. Mm-hmm. To tell them to go across the street is stupid. This is the biggest algorithm in the world. Let YouTube have their 30%. Mm-hmm. And keep your pones. That's what my mama would call a booty. That's country. That's Birmingham. I don't know. That just flew out of my mouth.
Pones.
Yeah. Keep your pones right here. Mm-hmm. And just grow when we started on YouTube, we let them have that 30%.
Wow.
Because that 70 they was giving me, I know how to work with 70. Mm-hmm. I'm a businessman. A 70-30 split. Mm-hmm. I can rock with that.
Yeah.
And we had all the members on YouTube, either giving $5, $10, or $20. We grew that up, and I didn't tell nobody to make a move until we started the B-Side app. Mm-hmm. And when I started the B-Side app, I shut the whole YouTube channel down for membership, and that's what drove our initial subscribers, our first early adopters over to the app. Mm-hmm. Like, you got to be strategic about it.
Mm-hmm. How long did you toil with the YouTube before you transitioned to that next step?
So we started the B-Side app in November of 23. Mm-hmm. So July, August, September, October, November. So that would have been 16 months.
Okay.
We were on YouTube for 16 months. But again, so many people had started on YouTube and immediately started a Patreon page, because Patreon would only take like 12% and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, they met you here.
Yeah.
You ask them for an action step. You already asked them to click and subscribe, and now you're asking them to cross the street.
Mm-hmm.
And people don't cross the street easy.
Mm-hmm.
We've had 51,000 people download our app. We got about, 8,700 subscriptions or something like this? 8,600 to 8,700 subscriptions. Every 8,700 subscription. Yeah. So when you have that, it's a slow conversion rate.
Mm-hmm.
People don't make moves, especially when you start asking them for money.
Oh, yeah.
So it's like,
yeah,
you don't make a lot of moves. Like, double down on who you got,
mm-hmm.
and then continue to provide the service that made them fall in love with you in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
The people that rock with me because I'm vulnerable.
Mm-hmm.
I can't switch up and turn it into an entertainment show.
Yeah.
It's not what we do.
Mm.
Okay, so we are at 82, 8251. I'm a real number guy.
Yeah.
So 8,251 subscribers as of today. 51,000 total users.
Wow.
52,000 total downloads. We have 5,274 monthly plan users. Thank y'all very much. 2,977 yearly plan users. Thank you very much. So, yeah.
And you got that by doubling down.
You just double down on who you are. Like, it's I refer to it as I call it the residency. I'm giving y'all a game right now.
I know.
Okay.
Continue.
I'm giving y'all a game right now. Y'all better pay attention, right? So I call it the residency philosophy, right? After an artist has their like peak success,
mm-hmm.
if they smart and if they got a good enough catalog, you do your residency in Vegas.
Like Usher.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Uh-huh.
Britney Spears did it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, J-Lo did it. J-Lo tried to go on tour.
That didn't work out.
She couldn't sell out. But they sell out when she do her show in Vegas.
Yeah.
Just make them come to you. Mm-hmm. Double down on the people that's loyal to you.
Mm-hmm.
You ain't going to fill out no 30 city tour. Ain't nobody rocking with J-Lo like that. Nobody want to hear Jenny from the Block like that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
It's true, yeah.
Like, that time is over.
Mm-hmm.
As dope as Usher was,
mm-hmm.
right? He ain't going to do no 45 city tour like he did when he first started.
Mm-hmm.
But if I'm in Vegas, I'm going to see Usher.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? If I'm in Vegas, I'm going to see Silk Sonic.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to see, like, you know, so that's how you make,
mm-hmm.
do your live shows. Go, like if this guy got 100,000 people, find out the top 3 cities he's in. He needs to go just appear there. I want to hang out with my people there. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
If it's 300 people, $30 a pop.
Simple.
It's really simple, but you just cater to your people. You're not gonna get everybody.
Yeah.
Right. So I don't look at our numbers and go, how do we get new? No, I just ask the people that we already have. Hey, if this has been a blessing to you, share it with somebody else.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm long game.
Me too.
I'm long game. You gonna look up 2 years from now and be like, he got 3 million followers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't have to.
Yeah.
Get it all now, and you know what I mean? And how do I get on Shannon Sharp? You know, Cat sat down with him. How do I sit down with him?
Yeah.
If he wanted, I would like to interview with Shannon. I would like to have Shannon on this show.
Oh, that would be
He's been interviewed on a lot of people's show. Like, I would like to have him on The Basement.
We got to tag Shannon.
You know what I'm saying? Like I would love, he's interviewing everybody right now.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to just sit down with him and be like, bro, how are you?
Ooh.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
How are you? So, that's the advice I would give. Like, double down on your audience, treat them really nice, love on them, acknowledge them. You know, when we do our live shows, we shout out everybody. We got the most loving community we ever. Oh my God!
You created it. You cultivated it.
Yeah,
and obviously you were a pastor. So.
Yeah, for sure. So that you used a word that brings up something else I want to talk about to help create content creators.
Mm-hmm.
You're not just a content creator. You're also a cultural architect.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And cultural architecture is very, very unique. It's when you can take, because I am a cultural architect, And cultural architecture is when you can take ideologies and or philosophies and give them a tangible expression that other people can interact with.
Okay.
Malcolm X was a cultural architect. He had a philosophy that people bought into, right? Hip hop is cultural architecture.
Mm-hmm.
Has a whole dress code, whole vibe that goes with it, right? Everything. So all cultures and subcultures, there's an architecture to it. There's a way it's built and a way you interact with it. And so for authenticity and vulnerability, there's a way with that when I went on my book tour, I could close my eyes. These were the same people with just different faces in every city I wound up in. Because they adopted the architecture. They adopted the culture, right? And so you got to know what your culture is. Yeah. Like, it's not okay, you create content, you made them laugh. What's the culture behind it? What's the why? Mm-hmm. Why are they here? Why should they rock with you? What are we about? If they turned around and told somebody else about you, what are they saying? Right? Because whatever the end user says is the truth about what you're doing. And you're establishing culture whether you ever define it or not. So define it and don't let it define you.
This is game. I don't feel like you
free 99.
This is literally a masterclass, and the business that you have behind this mind is so important. People probably just think you do this on accident, but
no, it's very intentional.
It's a strategy.
Yeah, it is. It's very intentional. I'm not out here I'm not flippantly talking. I'm not. I know exactly what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is good. Yeah. I feel like I need to have a whole podcast of just like the business mind of Tim Ross, because that's a part of it that I feel like a lot of people I want to get what you have, but I'm not willing to, steward my business the way that you do.
Yeah.
And it's a strategy. I'm sure a lot of things that you do that people don't see that causes for the success to happen as well.
Yeah.
And the transition that you've made. Can we get one business strategy tip for influencers like myself?
Yeah. Well, business strategy doesn't work unless you think you're a business. Mm-hmm. And a lot of social media influencers start off because it was fun.
Yeah.
We've talked about this, that, we started this pod and it was just like, oh, this is just fun. Then we turned it into a company. Mm-hmm. Company takes structure. Mm-hmm. And as soon as you bring structure to something, you take the fun out of it.
That's so true.
The moment you bring structure to anything,
that's accurate.
The fun is taken out of it, right? Mm-hmm. This is what happens in a lot of marriages and why infidelities are so high. Mm-hmm.
The structure? Really?
Yeah, absolutely. Took the fun out of it. They loved the promiscuous adventure of the risky stuff, and we about to do it in the back of the car, and let's go in this bathroom stall. You know what I'm saying? Let's meet you at the hotel. You know what I mean? And then it's like, oh, my body belongs to you, and your body belongs to me, and we can have it whenever, or we're gonna schedule it, and you know what I mean? Because there's babies, and then the structure takes the fun out of it. Now, there's two ways to look at it. Here's the analogy I'll give. I don't know if you remember And One basketball, like the mixtapes, the basketball players that they're like the street kings. Okay. The blacktop basketball players, Skip to My Lou and White Chocolate and Earthquake and all these different people, right? They were incredible basketball players, blacktop. They went all around. They were amazing. Very few of them wound up in the NBA. Because for all that fancy stuff they did, it didn't translate to a structured game. So while it was fun, the money's in structure. I'm going to say that again. Pay attention. The freestyle is fun. But the money is in the structure.
Yeah.
And if you don't bring structure to what you're doing, you are not going to generate massive revenue. It's just not going to happen. So, so as much as, you know, many of us creatives, we didn't come with an MBA, right? Mm-hmm. But if you don't learn some basic principles about money, if you don't set up your business right, if you don't pay your freaking taxes, if you doing all this side stuff, ghetto, janky, chitlin circuit, as I refer to it, your whole business is put together by duct tape and bobby pins and staplers. You're not going to do this long. And then you're going to get in tax trouble, and then you're not going to be around. You won't be around next year. Your rap's too severe, kicking mad flavor in your ear. Here comes the brand new flavor in your ear. Bring a new flavor to your ear. Craig Mack, 1,000 degrees. You'll be on your knees and you'll be burning, begging, please. Brothers freeze. Mad, undisputed, and deep-rooted punk folks that need the grain fruit. Something like that, he said.
He's spitting.
Yeah.
I don't know who that is, but it sounds deep.
Yo, Craig is deceased, but Craig was amazing. Craig Mack was so dope. He just had a great voice. One of the greatest remixes of all time is Flavor in Your Ear remix. But the business side of this is you got to be intentional, and you got to do the boring stuff, right? You got to structure, you got to pay your vendors, and then I know your friends, your creative guy, but you're gonna have to put them on a 1099. You know what I mean? You just can't just break them off money on the side. You're gonna have to report that. Yeah.
Could you kind of expand to what's the aim of the course? You talked about
people
that wanted to.
Yeah. So what happens is the structure. There's a boring side to the structure, right?
Yeah.
And what Hector, my producer, just said, and Hector's more than a producer. He's a creative director of the B-side. But we've been rocking together for over 2 years. The longevity is a thing, and you can't give up just because you're bored and you're uninterested, and now it's like the fun is wearing off, right? Because when people start a thing, they be like, "Oh man, I like this," and then it's like, "Oh damn, I got to do another podcast." Oh God, I got to do another podcast.
Oh God,
you won't be around next year if you're like, this is no longer fun. Well, yeah, it's not. It started off fun. Now it's our job. like these people in the gaming world, right? Gaming, like esports is now a big deal. These gaming leagues and all that kind of stuff. And people just love to play. I just love playing Fortnite. And then it's like, now I got a Twitch account and I signed this deal with a sponsor. Now I got to play Fortnite. That feels different when you got to clock in and play the damn game. And you don't even like it no more. You don't like the updates of the game no more. You'd rather be playing Call of Duty or something else. But now I got to play Fortnite because I signed a 9-month deal with Powerade to sponsor Fortnite. You know what I mean? And to play my game on Twitch and blah, 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 blah. If you don't have a work ethic, after all this fun wear off, you got to have a work ethic.
Right.
I come in here to do my pods. There's some days I'm like, I'd rather not pod today. I got to. It's my job now. We all eat off this pod.
Wow.
We started this pod because the Lord told us to. And then to steward it and to leverage it, structure had to come into place. And then you got to get your business side down. You ain't got to have an MBA. You ain't got to go back to college to get a degree in finance, but get a CPA. And here's the thing. Ooh, thank you, Holy Spirit. Yeah. You have to pay.
Those are expensive. I just got one a year ago.
Yeah.
They're expensive.
You got to pay. And so it's one thing when it's just you and your homeboy and, you know, YouTube is giving you $37,000 a month, between $28,000 and $32,000 a month. You're like, we balling. To keep all that up, now I got to pay for an editor.
Yeah.
Right? Because I need my time back. Now I got to pay for somebody to look at my books because I ain't got time to do that.
Yeah.
Right? And then okay, I made 32, but what I only came I make $5,200. I bring home $5,200 because I got to put back into the business and blah 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 blah. Like most people, they fizzle out between the first 2 years because they never make that transition in their head from the fun of it to the business of it. And you still get to have fun, but you understand like there's a whole business behind this that keeps this going.
Yeah.
And that's the way LeBron made it to a Billy.
Mm-hmm.
When all these other NBA players just made their money, got out the league, and then wound up broke again because they never changed their mind. Okay, thank you, Holy Spirit. I'll talk about that too. Mm-hmm. The other thing is, when that change happens for the business, that change happens in you. Mm-hmm. And you have to stop lying to your friends. Mm-hmm. And let me tell you the biggest lie we tell our friends when we start having success in what we're doing. I haven't changed. I'm still the same person. Yeah. I haven't changed. You lying. Stop lying to them. You have. Or let me say it another way. They haven't. Mm-hmm. And so, girl, you changed, and we used to hang out, and you act different. I have to. Yeah. I'm thinking about stuff I never had to think about before. Mm-hmm. We don't hang out the way we used to. No, we don't. You are absolutely right. Yeah. I acknowledge that. I miss you too. Mm-hmm. And I got to go to sleep at 10. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I got to get up at 6. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And walk my dog and go do all the things and then get on this call and then have to talk about that and then project for this and the next 3 months of that and then we're going to go over here. And like, that's a lot. Yeah. And so we have to stop lying when we change to our friends and our family.
Because you almost want to hold on to it.
You do.
You want to.
You do.
Like,
but you can't
negate what people think you are becoming.
Yeah.
Like, oh, she's extra. She thinks she's doing stuff all the time. I am, but I don't want you to feel that way.
Right, exactly. So I don't want to hear that from you.
Yeah.
And what I'm saying is acknowledge it.
Mm-hmm. That's good.
Confirm it. Mm-hmm. You acting different. I am. Mm-hmm. I am. I have so much more on my mind, girl. Mm-hmm. Man. Ooh, this was so easier 2 years ago when, I was just did an episode and walked away and still was pastoring. And 2 years later, we got a business, budgets, financial investors, got to raise $5 million. Man, we don't get to talk like we used to. We don't.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I do a walk in the morning. I got some time then, but outside of that, man, I used to have a lot more time on the phone. I've never left so many people on red in my life. I mean, friends, people I love.
Absolutely.
And I am committed to get back to them. But literally sometimes it's like a month later.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't an emergency. It was just, I'm checking in on, I'm like, I can't even.
Yeah. And it hurts when they stop checking on you. Like, I can notice that too, and then I'll see, I didn't answer that message from like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's hard.
So what I've done is I've given people an update on where I am. The people that I love. Like, hey, I love you. Oh my goodness. I cannot believe I'm just looking at I acknowledge it.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the date you sent your text. It was June 12th. And I am just now getting back to you. Mm-hmm. Let me tell you why. This, and this. I love you, and I'm in a season now that if it ain't on my calendar, it don't exist. And so let's be intentional about our time.
Yeah.
Let's get a date on the calendar. Mm-hmm. I don't have that luxury of the spontaneity of just like, hey, what you doing Friday? Today's Wednesday.
Yeah.
You can't ask me about this Friday. You can't ask me about next Friday. Mm-hmm. You can ask me about a Friday probably 5 months from now. Eunice probably, but don't ask me about 48 hours from now. That ain't gonna work. So let's put something on the calendar and let's commit to meeting.
Did you lose people when you started acting or saying that type of stuff?
I did, because some people would love to believe that they're closer to you than they really are. And so they all, everybody loves to believe, but that ain't me though. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't have to be on the calendar. Like, I'm pretty sure you got to put some people on the calendar, but not me. And then you're like, no, you too.
Yeah.
You're on the calendar.
Yeah.
My mama's on the calendar.
Yeah. Seriously. And if you want to help me.
Yeah.
Your mom has no problem. My mom has no problem.
My mama has zero problem. She like, I'll see you on the 18th.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So I'm like, my wife and my kids are on the calendar.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And they have no problem with it.
So who do you actually think you are to me?
Mm-hmm. Mm.
You see what I'm saying? Like, I gotta let's recalibrate this friendship and define what it actually is. Because you think you taking my mama's spot?
Yeah.
My daddy went to heaven, and you think you got carte blanche over my mama?
Mm-hmm. Because that's how they navigate their world. And I feel like that's something that a lot of people want to reflect on you, is that where they are, since I have the time to operate like this,
then you should make that time with me. And it's like, no, you have more free time than I do.
Mm-hmm. And don't let them see you on social. Like for me, I run a social platform.
Yeah.
And people see that. I'm like, well, what else are you doing? Well, it's a lot. If I'm doing this full time, it's obviously not just what you're seeing.
Absolutely.
People don't process it like that.
They don't. Because they can post real time what they eating.
Exactly.
Look at this sandwich I'm eating right now. And they have no idea the stuff that comes out for me. They're like, oh my God, bro, you everywhere. I'm like, that was 5 months ago. Yeah. Y'all looking at posts from 5 months ago. Right now, what are we 4.5 months ahead on content right now?
Wow.
4.5? No. Like 3.
That's still a lot.
14, 4, 8, 12. And we have 14. So we're 3.5 months ahead.
So people sometimes think you're commenting on something that maybe just happened, but this was recorded like.
Yeah, absolutely.
A long time ago.
Yeah, that was a long time ago. Uh-huh. They getting 3 months ago content.
That's hard. That's good though.
Oh, it is. Mm-hmm. That's like we work and then we play. Mm-hmm. We work hard, then we play hard.
I gotta get to that. That's why I'm working with Hector.
Yeah, yeah.
Like teach me your ways,
absolutely.
like all of you, because it's draining.
Yeah,
and I think you guys have found something that makes sense, and it's not too much.
It makes sense and it's sustainable. Mm-hmm. And where we will probably edge out most people is that we walk while they run, which means we're gonna pass them.
Absolutely, eventually, yeah. Mm-hmm.
You can walk a lot longer than you can run. Mm-hmm. Even a marathon runner, like you gonna have to stop.
Yeah,
I can keep walking. I can walk and eat. You can't walk and eat. Mm-hmm. I can walk and eat a whole sandwich.
Yeah.
You can't run and eat.
You can talk.
Yeah, I can talk. Yeah, exactly. So it's like, while I see a lot of these people running laps around me, I'm just walking.
Yeah, and they're stopped. They're done now.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Burnt out. So
I'm so grateful. This was such a great podcast episode. Like honestly, I feel like the way we just flowed, it was like none of my notes, but all of the things that I needed. Like
wow.
We laughed, we tears, all that stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
This has blown even what I expected this to be. So thank you.
Thank you
so much for taking this time out, especially having me in the basement.
Absolutely. For sure.
Appreciate it. So
thank you.
Until next time, guys. We're capable of evolving. I start seeing a psychiatrist and a counselor. Thank God for counseling. People who immediately tell you what you need to do, run.
You know what I'm saying?
This is the Black Christian Influencers Podcast.